I believe it's a good idea to every once in a while take a step back and assess what's really going on here. There's a lot of information going on in the world. And over the last 2 months, a lot of crazy things have happened. And I want to start with this tweet in particular. This is Joe Biden, and Joe Biden saying he's still going to stay in the race. And this was on July 5th. Just 8 days later, after Joe Biden, the president of the United States, made this tweet, Donald Trump had an assassination attempt, a failed assassination attempt, mind you. And I wonder what would have driven a citizen to do something like that.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country. MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution. They do not believe in the rule of law. They do not recognize the will of the people.
Nah, it couldn't have been Joe Biden just slandering an entire demographic of people in the American populace. That possibly couldn't have been it. I'd like to make another point. CNN quite regularly refused to show Donald Trump giving a speech live because they said it was dangerous or something along the lines of that. Check this out.
We do have now some of the sound. As I told you, we're not, and the audience, we're not carrying his remarks live because, frankly, he says a lot of things that are not true and sometimes potentially dangerous.
Now, I don't know about you, but I find it to be very odd that CNN would show Trump's speech live miraculously the same day he almost got his head blown off.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
After this failed assassination attempt, Joe Biden just mysteriously dropped out. It's almost as if that something wasn't going exactly to plan. So they felt as if Joe Biden, by they I mean the people telling Joe Biden and the Democrats what to do, they felt as if Joe Biden couldn't beat Donald Trump. So he steps down, and the Democratic Party looks at everybody that they have and trying to figure out who they want to be president of the United States to combat Donald Trump. And they see Kamala Harris, which, mind you, Kamala Harris was not part of the primaries whatsoever. So the delegates just simply chose her randomly. So Kamala Harris needs a running mate. And what do? They choose Tim Walz. Now, mind you, I say they for a reason because Kamala Harris isn't really picking it. Other people are picking her running mate for her. And she goes and chooses Tim Walz. And Tim Walz is known for this. And if that's not bad enough, Kamala Harris is actually doubling down on her wokeness that actually made that happen.
You know, we have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah.
After the string of crazy events, we now have people that are very gung-ho about voting for someone who has absolutely no idea what she's talking about.
We're looking at over 220 million Americans who just in the last several months died.
And that's not the only time she said that.
We are in the midst of a public health epidemic that has taken the lives of over 220 million Americans in just the last several months.
Nothing says I have no value of human life like mistakenly saying multiple times that hundreds of millions of people died from something. She is so hell-bent on communism that she openly states that she wants illegal immigrants, or aliens I should say, to have free health care.
You support giving universal health care, Medicare for all, to people who are in this country illegally?
Let me just be very clear about this. I am opposed to any policy that would deny in our country any human being from access to public safety, public education, or public health, period.
It's important to note that a country that is dependent upon its government is in fact a slave to it. But that doesn't stop Kamala Harris having a strong argument when it comes to a campaign.
A loaf of bread costs 50% more today than it did before the pandemic. Ground beef is up almost 50%.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
But seriously, she has the President of the United States backing her now, so how bad could it possibly be?
My God. That's why Kamala and I are proud. We beat the NRA when we passed the first major bipartisan gun safety law in 30 years.
These people are cheering for what he just said. Just mush and gibberish. Oh, and Kamala Harris is openly standing against the Bill of Rights, but makes a lot of sense because her father was a Marxist. Make sure to like, follow, and share if you want more content like this. I'll see you on the next one.
Your AR-14s.
Okay, this is not okay.